Greetings, Commanders. This is Commander Atlas Ram, and today I'm going to show you the quickest, easiest, fastest way to gather encoded materials. Now, what are encoded materials, first of all? For people that know, you know. For people that don't, let me show you. So if you go to your inventory, this is your ship's cargo. This is if you have a refinery. These are your materials, like manufactured materials or raw materials. And here you have encoded materials. This is what we're going to be getting today. Now you can see on some of these, I've got pretty full materials, and on some of them, they are pretty empty. And before I take this character out into the black, I want to make sure that I'm well stocked on encoded materials. We're going to start at Ray's Gateway in the Diagwandri system. I'll show you that out here. It's right there, Diagwandri. It is kind of toward the edge of the bubble. You can see it's on the southern side and towards the California Nebula. And what we're going to do is we're going to use the let me get back to it here. We're going to use the trader here at Ray's Gateway. The contacts, material trader. And this trader will allow us to trade down in all of the materials that we're going to be gathering here. All the encoded ones. This is encoded material trader, you can see up top. And I've already gone through and kind of filled up all of the low-level materials here up to max capacity, which is 300 for that, 250, 200, 150, and 100. So you can see I've shifted as much as I could to the left. Some of these materials are not quite at their capacity, but they're pretty darn close. Like, for example, this one can get a few more in there. And it's good enough. It's within range. And you can see as we get into this fourth and certainly the fifth column, there's a lot less materials here. So what I want to do is I want to fill up all the tier 4 columns and then get the tier 5 columns to be at least half because they're not used a whole lot. It'd be nice to get them to full, but at the very minimum, I'd like to have these filled to half, which would be 50. Now you can see one of these, adaptive encryptor's capture, is at 100. And that's because this one is what we're going to be using to fill up all the rest of these. This one can get filled extremely quickly and easily at the Jameson crash site in literally a matter of seconds. Probably under 1 minute, and we will be full at 100. So the first thing I'm going to do is empty this so that we can fill it up again. And by empty, I simply mean select the bucket that we want to fill, then scroll down here, and then keep clicking the arrow until you are out of materials, or you can hold down the arrow. That'll shift everything quickly. So it's going to empty out this completely and add 50 to this one. Now I also have just a little bit in here as well. Or no, it's this one, atypical encrypted materials. So I'm going to, well, actually, you know what? I'm going to leave it alone because it's almost empty anyway. It would only add a couple more to here. So we're just going to keep using the adaptive encryptors to fill all the rest of these. Now that I've got adaptive encryptors to empty, we're going to exit here. And this station is a pretty good station. It has a material trader. It also has a technology broker in case you needed to pick up or unlock any of your Guardian stuff. The only thing I've got unlocked in this account is the FSD booster. But since it has technology broker, it means this is also a location that you could buy an FSD booster. So once it's unlocked, you could buy it at any technology broker station. It's also a Li Yangru station, which means that anything you buy here is going to be at a 15% discount, which is even for people that are not pledged to Li Yangru. Now, this account happens to be pledged to Li Yangru, but You don't have to be to get that discount. So from here, we're going to plot our flight. And we're going to be going to the Jameson crash site, which is at HIP 12099. If you're flying here for the first time, just simply mark the location like so. In a decent jump range ship, you can see it's only 2 jumps. I think it might be possible on a absolutely maxed out jump range ship to even do this in 1 jump, but I'm not going to worry about it. 2 jumps is quick enough. And if you've been there already, then you'll be able to select this on the map, go to view system. That way you'll see the entirety of the system. And then this is the moon and planet, or planet and moon, which is 1B that we're going to go to. Again, if you've been here, you'll be able to see this view. If you haven't, then don't worry about it. Actually, I'm not even sure why this isn't showing up. So we'll just go ahead and fly to this moon. And then once we're there, we'll be able to see the actual Jameson crash site itself. You have to be within fairly close proximity to see it. All right. So we've got our entire flight planned. Just 2 jumps, fuel up. Let's launch. And I will meet you just as we enter that system.
Detach confirmed. Watch for oncoming traffic when passing through the airlock.
And we are jumping into our final destination here. And as soon as we get in, we're going to fly to the planet and moon that has the Jameson crash site. This is 1B. You can see it's fairly close to the entry sun as well. So we could do the old turbo here, but honestly, I'm not going to even bother because we're so close to it anyway. We'll be there. Now, if you've never been to the Jameson crash site, it is part of the lore of the game. Jameson is a very famous pilot within the game, famous commander. You may have heard of the station that has a 10% discount on absolutely everything, which is Jameson Station. And it is named for the person whose ship is crashed here. You can read the lore. I'm not a huge lore guy. I just enjoy playing the game. But if you're into the lore, you want to know the backstory, you can find out about what Jameson did, how that affected humans and Thargoids' relationships, and sort of what came out of all of it. It is an interesting story, but again, people have done much better videos than anything that I could do because they're into the whole lore, whereas I just sort of, I'll read about it, but I'm not too deep into it. Okay, you can see that as we're coming up to the planet here, we're going a little too fast as usual. So let me slow down. And get a little closer to the moon. All right. Start circling around it as we slow down. And as we're slowing down, we're going to see... In fact, I'm going to stop right here just to open up the panel. So we're going to go in here. We're going to select Jameson crash site. You see that it popped up. Going to lock that as a destination. And now, while we're stopped, I can zoom around. I can see where it is. Okay, it's on the other side. So let me fly to the other side here.
Orbital flight engaged.
And I'm just sort of staying high above the planet as I'm flying there, controlling my speed to be somewhere around 75% of max throttle. And as soon as we see it, I'm going to once again basically stop, put throttle to 0, align with it so that the sight is right about where the edge of the windshield of my ship is, and put the throttle back to 50%. And then I'm just going to keep it at the very edge of my windshield. You can see my my windshield, the bottom of the screen is sort of splitting the Jameson crash site in half. What this does is allows us to approach it from a steeper angle. There we go. Now we're gliding, and once we're gliding, now I can actually approach it more directly and put it more toward the center of the screen, more to where the cursor is. Now I do have night visibility turned on, so that in case it's dark here, which I'm not even sure if it's dark or light, because everything's green, but there it is. We're coming up to the crash site, and there we are. Okay, so it is morning here, so I can turn off the night vision. We'll still see it, or I can turn it on. I kind of prefer it with night vision off. Now, as we're coming up to the Jameson crash site, this is where this tutorial is going to be a little different than what everybody else is going to tell you to do. What most people will tell you to do is just to land right next to the crash site, get into your SRV. This is the little buggy in the game, which of course you had to bring with you to do this, and then drive around the crash site and scan the beacons. But if you know anything about my other tutorials, you know that I'm kind of lazy. I like to do things quicker, and I don't like to get out of the ship unless absolutely necessary. So what we're going to do instead is, well, you don't need to bring an SRV. We're just going to scan everything that we need to scan with the ship itself. Now maybe I will turn on night vision just to... Nope, that's actually harder to see. Alright, I will turn off night vision. But what we're looking for is these blinking red lights, like the one right in the middle here. You can see I'm going to get closer and closer to it with the ship. We've got shields in here, so I'm not worried even if I bounce off. And then what I've got on this ship, I've got a mining laser, I got some collectors, but what we're going to be using is the data link scanner. And we're going to get nice and close. And you see, as I get closer, a little gray square appears around this. This is the same thing that would happen if you're in an SRV. But you could do this in a ship. You lock in, and you start using the data link scanner to scan. And as we scan this, it doesn't take very long, just takes a few seconds. We're done. Go to the next one until that square appears, lock it, scan it. Incidentally, the ship does the scans faster than the SRV. The SRV takes about twice as long. Go to the next one. Lock that in. Scan it. Go to the next one. Here. Get nice and close, lock it in, and scan it. Now, we've so far scanned 76. So here's a blinking one right here. Get nice and close. Lock it. Scan it. Back up. There's one right here that's blinking. Lock that in. Do a quick scan. Back up. There's one right here that's blinking. And I think there's only one after this one that we can scan. Alright, lock that in. Back up. And I believe this is the last one, unless we missed one. So let's lock that in, scan it. Now, once we've scanned it, if we try and lock it again, it's not going to scan it. It's going to tell us it's already been scanned. So you are certainly able to go back and say, you know, I don't know if I scanned this one. Did I miss this one or did I scan it? Let's try it. Yep, must have missed this one because it's scanning it. Well, let's do one that we for sure have scanned. Like we should have done this one, so let's get close to this. Lock it, and you can see it's not going to scan it because it's done. Now, how much did we get out of this? Well, we're almost full. We've got 130 atypical encryptions, and we have 60 of the adaptive encryptions. Now, we want to be full on the adaptive. So, to do that, and this is the exact same process as using the SRV. The only difference is we don't have to bring an SRV and we're scanning it quicker from the ship. But all I'm going to do now is just drop my landing gear. I'm going to make sure that my ship will
Landing gear deployed.
auto land. It doesn't have to be a set for auto landing. You can manually land it if you want, but I'm, again, kind of lazy, so I might as well have the ship auto land. There we go. Should figure it out on its own. Then the reason we're landing is just so that we can log off and log right back in. Now, sometimes you'll come here, you'll do these scans, and you'll actually get a full 100 just from one set of scans. This time I got 60 instead of 100. We're just going to exit to main menu. And then immediately come back into the game. Solo play. By the way, you always want to do this in solo play because you don't want to be competing with other people for scanning these. Because if you're doing this with other people, you're going to be whoever scans first essentially is going to get that. Now you see we're right back. So once again, we just simply take off, put away the landing gear before it tries to land us. Or I could just disable auto land. And then come in here until we're nice and close. And start scanning again. There we go. There's a scan. Do another scan right here. Alright, and then another scan right here. Now, you'll see messages saying you're already full. Don't worry about those. That is simply because I have more than one function mapped onto the same key. So you may not even see these messages, but if you do, don't worry about them. As long as you're seeing this sort of scan effect happening, then you will keep getting more and more of these scanned in. Now I'm actually just holding the scan button before I even lock. That's why you're seeing it start scanning immediately before I lock. So you can see as soon as I lock, the scan starts. So you can actually hold the other button to start scanning immediately. And let's see, once this is scanning, let's see where we are. All right, now we are actually full. We're at 100%. We've got 100 adaptive encryptors, so there's really no reason to scan the last two. There are two more here that we haven't scanned, but since we were at 60 before, we've gotten now to 100. So all we have to do is just fly away from this site.
Cannot comply.
Oh, yes, gotta put away the hard points. Oh yeah, there we go. Hit the right button to put away the hard points.
Ready to engage.
And then once you're in warp, go ahead and select Digwandri, which is right here, which is where we came from. Which is again just going to be 2 jumps. Select it for where you're flying to. Let's see if we're high up enough. Almost. We're almost high up enough to jump. So we'll go ahead and start the jump. Keep flying up a little bit. And jump out of there. Now you can see that even with logging off and logging back in, this process literally took a couple of minutes. If you get lucky, you will not have to log off. You will fill up the entire 100 of the adaptive encryptors right from the first landing. There's a little bit of randomness involved there. I'm not even going to take you guys out while I'm talking here. I'll actually just make that last jump.
Fuse
it's only 2 jumps, so it's really quick to be able to trade these in. We're going to go to the quandary. I'm filling up with fuel
snipping complete.
while this is happening. Now, if you've got a ship that has a slightly smaller jump range, obviously maybe it'll take you 3 jumps, but this ship is not anywhere near maxed out. You can see here my range is 70 light years unloaded. Current range 74 light years. This ship is capable of doing over 90 light years if it's properly configured. So this is a ship, this is a Mandalay that is not particularly optimized for long range, and it's still just 2 jumps, which is plenty quick.
4, 3, 2, 1.
And once we're in the quandary, we are going to go to Ray's Gateway. And Ray's Gateway is where we started this video, and that's where we do the trade. There it is.
Fuel scooping.
Lock that in. So if I'm not streaming or recording video, if I'm just focused on doing these jumps, I can usually do 4 to 5 round trips like this per hour. And depending on how empty you are with what you're trying to collect, and usually for most people, the data, what do we call it again? The encoded materials. Yeah, the data portion, which is called encoded materials, is usually the last thing people collect after the raw and after the manufactured materials, which are frankly easier because you just do that either in the bubble or from brain trees, or if you're like me and you're just used to it, you fly to the shards, which are a little further out, about 1,650 light years. But the shards let you fill everything up very quickly, faster than the brain trees, but it does involve a little more work. I have a video that shows you how to best utilize the shards, as well as how to use limpets to collect materials from brain trees as well. But this type of material gathering with the I keep forgetting, the encoded materials. I keep wanting to say data because it's really all it is. You're just collecting data. But the encoded materials, you can collect different encoded materials by scanning different types of ships. But I just find that process takes a long time. And if you just need to top up, or even if you just need to fully replenish from empty, doing this loop is very quick and easy. It can be done while you're watching Netflix or something else. It doesn't require a particularly lot of attention. It's just sort of something that you can do while you're doing other things. And especially if you have things like Super Cruise Assist running, if you have basically an autopilot that takes care of pulling you out of warp exactly when you need to pull out of warp. So there you go, guys. I'm going to land. I'm going to do that trade and then go and repeat it again, but I will stop the video as soon as we land. And hopefully this shows you the easiest way to replenish your encoded materials, aka data.
This is Flight Operations Department. Please comply with established docking procedures, Commander.
And like I said, I'm doing it in a ship that's mostly unengineered.
1-8.
And
You are
while
clear
this
for
ship
automated approach, Commander.
does have things that I've used for getting raw materials, like the remote release flak launchers and the planetary vehicle hangar, that is all for getting raw materials using shards. You do not need either of those things for getting the encoded materials. You just need the ship itself. And for getting manufactured materials, and again, I've got videos on all of these,
Landing gear deployed.
all you really need is a ship and collectors. You don't really need anything else. So hopefully that helps people to find a way to do this quickly and easily without spending a whole lot of time trying to chase down military ships to scan, transporter ships to scan, or even going to food sites in systems that are in famine, which used to be a fairly quick way of doing it. But honestly, now, after they've changed the amounts that are gathered, this is by far the fastest way of doing it. I will see you all on the next one.